a main event with my boy, Brandon Moreno, dude. You know I love this
Flyweight
guy.
main event, dude. Flyweight main event. Come on.
Yeah, when's the last time we saw Brandon Moreno, actually, now that I think about it?
It's been a while. Was it the Albazi fight?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Albazi.
Albazi.
We hadn't seen him well, wasn't that long ago. November 2024. But still,
That. Yeah.
it feels like it was a long time ago since I had seen Brandon Moreno. He's over with Safe Saud, right? Falling out of 47 May in Dallas now. His style's changed up a little bit ever since we've last seen. Remember when he used to do the thing, at the waist
Yeah.
where his hands kind of come up, and he like fights like that. We don't really
Yeah.
see that anymore, very much anymore.
No. Now we see long leaping overhand rights that he ends up over his feet on, and we see that too often. That was like one of the biggest problems with the Royval fight, I thought. And they talked about how much he worked on his defense before this fight, and I did see that he was a lot more defensively responsible in this fight, I thought.
Yeah,
Like you said, he wasn't doing this anymore, which is cool, but not super great as far as like you know being a good fighting style. But I mean, it got him the belt. But yeah, he's a lot more refined, a lot more, I guess, like technical, with his defense, I would
yes,
say.
yes.
But I think, yeah, the offense, I don't know. The offense has kind of bummed me out a little bit from him lately. Mainly just that overhand right, I guess. Everything else is still fine, but that overhand right sometimes is a bit much. And I thought this picture's perfect. I mean, he landed it immediately in this fight against Erceg. And I guess if you look at Erceg's last couple fights, you might think, okay, that overhand right is definitely there for him because he gets hit by it a lot. So maybe it's fine to just be throwing wild overhands like this. Um, and
They
he
kept on
wobbled him
catching
in that first
Erceg.
round.
They kept on
Yeah.
catching him.
But then I think he fell in love with it because for the rest of the fight, he wasn't catching him nearly as much as he was in the first half of that fight. Um, yeah, Blunderbob says, I really thought this was going to pop off in the later rounds, but it kind of
So
cooled
did I.
off.
So did I.
Yeah. And I think part of that is because, look, I texted you we normally don't text during the fights, but
Yeah,
this one I did text you. I really, really
about
liked.
Erceg.
Yeah, I said I don't think Ursay is going to get this win, but I do really like some of the reads he's making in this, because you know, hey, shout out Leo Cooper MMA.
Yep,
Needed more output from Urseg. That was the main problem, in my opinion. Yeah, I agree.
I
Thank you for
agree.
joining. I agree because in that first round, Moreno's throwing that overhand right. Who was it? Was it Kaikar France that knocked out Urseg with that overhand? Um,
Mm,
it was they call it a cross, but it was kind of an overhand, at least on Tapology. But so he's open
yeah,
for that, and Moreno was landing it immediately, right? But part of the disguise for that overhand is to like lean forward, and Moreno was leaning forward heavy, and so
very
Urseg,
heavy.
4 minutes into that first round, he starts throwing uppercuts. He's throwing front kicks up the middle. He's throwing front kicks to the body. I thought that was it. It took him like not even a full round to start using weapons that are gonna work against that type of stance. And I was
Yeah,
like, that's really cool.
yeah.
Like Leo said, he didn't really capitalize on it as the fight continued. He kind of did in the second and third, I guess.
And but the thing too is like he was throwing like he would throw a jab, right?
Mhm.
Moreno would slip in, come in with that overhand right, and catch him.
Yeah,
And
over and over.
so yeah, on repeat, rinse and repeat,
Yeah,
right? And so if you're Ursig, you're like, man, in the beginning, at least I can understand how it's like, hey, let me try to figure this out. Like you said, he started
yeah,
trying to mix it up, but it was a lot of single shots,
yes,
right? And so Moreno did a great job, capitalized off that. Um, as the rounds continued going on, like I want to say it was the third round when Ursig really started picking up on the timing,
that was a good
started
round for
catching
Erceg.
Moreno a lot more, right?
Hmm.
But even then, I was like, okay, let's start piecing together some combos now, Erceg, right?
Yeah.
It didn't really
Well,
start throwing too many heavy combos.
what's crazy, Erceg outstruck him in every single round of this fight, which is crazy. Um, but and like Blunderbuff says, he made that knee read in the second or third, and then he never
Yes.
went back to it. I was bummed. And yes, one thing that Moreno throws him. You can even see it in this picture. He throws himself so far forward over his lead leg to throw this overhand right. And there was a couple times Erceg got out of the way of it, and Moreno's like completely off balance. But then most of the time he was there for it. Um, so he was eating it. But sometimes he would slip it, shoulder into him, And then as they're standing back up to posture, he throws that knee up the middle. And he did that. He landed that in the second round. And I was like, oh, that's a great read. And then he started feinting that front kick because he would throw the front kick, and Moreno's answer to the front kick would be to lean back, right? Lean out of the way. And then he'd come right. Moreno has a rhythm to him. The way kind of Moreno moves. If he's out of range, he'll start like waddling back into range, or like he'll lean back and he's back. And he does that, like he has very specific movements that he does. And that front kick up the middle, which was perfect because Moreno was leaning over so much, his answer was to lean back and then reset. And so he'd throw that front kick, or he'd feint it and just kind of lift his knee like he's going to throw it. Moreno would lean back, and as he's coming back in, he'd throw the 1-2. Like he's literally creating a car crash and baiting Moreno to slip, come back in right onto a 1-2. And reads like that were working for him up until, I would say, the end of the third round, and then it kind of just disappeared. I thought the second and
Have
third
you
round.
noticed too, when Moreno gets caught with a leg kick, and especially if it's a heavy leg kick, he'll like hip thrust forward and like make it a point that he didn't move his leg, right? So there's 2 times that I can remember Erceg lands a heavy leg kick. Moreno like hip thrusts forward, kind of to say like try it again. Or I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
But he got caught up top.
Oh yeah,
by Erceg just throwing a quick shot. It's like, dude, Moreno, like, so to your point, just things like that, where he's like very rhythmic and in some cases predictable on how he's going to react to certain things, made it easier for Erceg in the third round to make some of those reads.
Yeah, and I thought Erceg had a good second round and a good third round.
There's that knee up the
right
middle.
there. Kind of looks like our boy Nick Griswold in that picture, huh?
He does, actually.
Yeah, that's kind of weird. Shout out Nick. But yeah, I thought the second, third rounds, I was like, man, Erceg's so impressive making these reads and real time making adjustments and capitalizing on them and setting traps. But then he just kind of didn't follow through with it. And I don't know if you heard, I think it was after the third round. It might have been after the fourth round. I think it was after the fourth round. Erceg's corner told him, hey, it's very clear that Brandon's listening to us. So from here on out, if I call for body work, go to the head. And if I call for head work, go to the body. And I was like, holy shit, dude. Very cool. But also, how difficult is that to pull off that adjustment?
In the middle of a fight? Like, I know to us, it sounds easy right now.
Yeah.
To us sitting here, it sounds easy right now. Yeah. But
so I asked Charles Johnson, because he was saying, he was like, man, corner work from both guys really cool going into this round. And I was like, dude, so he called for this. That sounds very simple, but like at this point of a fight, how difficult is that? And he's like, very difficult, or some shit like that. Or no, I think I was like, is that difficult? I was like, it sounds simple, but is that difficult going in like this far into a fight? And he was like, hell yeah. So,
dude,
very cool, but and maybe
so
that's too much.
Chatting it up with Charles Johnson. You haven't invited him onto the podcast yet?
I'm trying to get him on, dude. Trying to get him on.
Just make it happen. Charles Johnson, if you're watching right now, just hop on the pod, man.
Hop on the pod, man. Come on.
Yeah.
But yeah, also shout out Austin. Thanks for joining. But yeah, I thought Moreno showed that a true champion I thought he lost a middle round there, probably the third round. Genevieve says that sounds so hard to do in any fight. Yeah.
True.
And I don't know if maybe that's what it is. Maybe he got too in his head in those, because you would think, I thought he won the third round.
Erceg? I thought
he cracked him hard. He cracked him hard in the second round with that straight right. But I think Moreno worked enough to win that round. And in the third round, I thought Erceg took it, and I was like, oh, if you lose the first two and you win the third as you enter championship rounds, you're in a decent spot here. Yeah, momentum shift. And I'm wondering if he's too technical, or he's too in his own head about these types of things, making reads, setting traps, things like that, and then his corner's like, hey, we're shaking this up now. If mentally,
like, oh no,
did that kill his momentum? Is he overthinking things now? You know what I mean? Or is Moreno just, and who knows, trying to get inside the mind of a fighter is stupid, right? It's pointless mid-fight, but especially from us, right? But I thought Moreno really showed, maybe that's part of it, but Moreno really showed that like championship experience, former champion, former multiple time champion, coming in and taking the fourth and fifth back. Yeah, Moreno's just fucking sick, dude. I love, what Moreno does? That multiple punch combination, and then he stutter steps and then throws his lead leg to the body, or lead leg to the legs. And he was digging in, and then on
I
the
was gonna
third
say
time he
when
did
he
it,
does
Erceg
that one and
checked
he
it
goes to the thigh
at like
specifically.
a downward angle.
Oh my god, it looks so painful. And he puts his entire body into it, dude.
He did it 3
Entire
times in a
body.
row.
So
Twice
painful.
landed, and then the third time Moreno just scoots back and checks it, or Erceg scoots back and checks it, and Moreno's like, "Okay, I won't do that again."
We're good.
But again, another adjustment by Erceg.
Yeah.
You're not gonna throw
Yeah,
us a
and
combo 3 times in a row.
I'm sure that the pressure that Moreno was putting on that same 3rd round
Oh, yeah.
where you and I said, "Hey, that was a really good round for Erceg." Erceg Moreno did a very good job of controlling the center of the octagon
The whole
and
fight.
dictating where the fight was gonna take place. The 3rd
Yeah.
round, Erceg did a way better job with his lateral movement, moved around the edges of
Mhm.
the octagon. Moreno was chasing a little bit more. You even saw at the end of the round he was frustrated because the crowd was booing and he like shrugged his shoulders at him
Yeah.
like, "I'm trying," right? So I just
Yeah.
wonder how much of that constant pressure from Moreno also swayed the judges.
Yeah, and you know what I like from Moreno is he'll throw a long combination to get you to back up, right? And if you
Yeah.
circle out, on the weak side, he ends up you don't necessarily matador him, but you kind of do a little bit, right? You circle out and he's running in a straight line attacking you, but instead of following you around the perimeter of the octagon, he literally will walk backwards and like basically like jog backwards to get back to the center and cut you off again. Like he did it multiple times in this fight where he would get matadored a little bit, Erceg would escape, and Moreno's literally jogging back to the center of the cage to like, and not in like a circular motion, literally just cut right through it, and that's impressive, you know.
Hey, by the way,
Um,
shout out Brian, man. He is my
hey,
favorite of your brothers, Will.
damn, dude, no love for
Yeah.
Mike.
Yeah. My favorite of your brothers, dude.
but
Good dude, man. Good dude.
but yeah, shout out Brian. Thanks for joining live. But yeah, I thought Moreno. It was a decent fight. I did think it was going to pop off a little bit more towards the end. I don't know if maybe things slowed down because they're at Mexico City, right? The elevation's crazy, so maybe Erceg was also like, "Oh fuck!" After that third round, he's like, "I'm a little tired here." Um, but Moreno, that's 2 wins in a row now since losing that fight
3
to
losses in a row for
Royval.
Erceg.
Yeah, man. Can we give Erceg a drop in competition, please? Jesus
No.
Christ. They really threw him to the wolves.
No.
People were like, people were complaining about him getting a title shot. Then he really showed out in that title shot against Pantoja, and everyone's like, oh shit, maybe he is legit. And then he's fought killers since then. It's
Lost
like, hey,
Pantoja,
maybe,
lost to Kaikar France, lost to Brandon Moreno.
yeah. So it's like, hey, man, can we drop him just a little bit? Because I like the guy. I don't want him to be like 0-4, you
Astro
know?
Boy?
Oh, God, dude, that fight would be sick.
Get out
It'd
of
be a
here,
sick
dude.
fight. But honestly, drop it a little further than that, too, please. I don't want to see him go 0-4 and then they cut him or some shit, you know?
They won't cut him, dude. I think that the UFC thinks very highly of him, which is why they continue giving him fights like they are giving him.
Yeah.
Look at everybody they're
Give him
giving
Tim
him. Even
Elliott.
after he lost to Pantoja?
True.
No.
Give him
I
Tim
like Tim
Elliott.
Elliott. I
Tim
like
Elliott,
Tim
bro.
Elliott.
I do too, but he's ranked 11. He needs to defend
Good
that
dude.
spot. When's the last time Tim Elliott fought?
Hey everybody, Romero and Will here. Thank you for watching that short clip. Just so you know, that was a small excerpt from what we covered this last Sunday, right, Will?
Yeah, we cover the entire event every weekend. So this was just a cutout from the live stream that we did. The link to that live stream is in the description. So if you want to hear about the other fights that night, it's down below in the description. Please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell because we go live every Sunday to cover events. And if you do that, you'll know for next week and you can tune in and be in the chat and get featured on the show just like everybody else was on this clip.
We hope to chat with you live.